Peter Obi shook up Nigeria's 2023 presidential election and might just have what it takes to win the next one in 2027. In this video, we will be talking about how Peter Obi could win the next Nigerian election and become Nigeria's next president. First of all, let's rewind a bit. If you follow the 2023 election, you know Peter Obi came out of nowhere. Well, not exactly out of nowhere, but close. He was a former governor of Anambra State, a businessman with a reputation for being frugal, and a politician who didn't vibe with the usual Nigerian political playbook. He ran under the Labour Party, a relatively small player compared to the big dogs APC and PDP, who have dominated Nigerian politics since 1999. Yet, Obi pulled off something wild. He won 6.1 million votes, snagged Lagos and Abuja, and came third in a race everyone thought was a two-horse show. That's no small feat, and it's got people asking, can he go all the way next time? So how does Peter Obi turn that momentum into a 2027 victory? Let's break it down into a few key moves based on what worked in 2023, what didn't, and what's brewing in Nigeria right now. Firstly, the youths are the secret sauce. If there's one thing Obi's got locked down, it's the youth. Nigeria's population is young. Over a third of the 87 million eligible voters in 2023 were under 35. These are the folks who grew up with smartphones, saw the EndSARS protests in 2020, and are fed up with the status quo. Obi's campaign spoke their language. He wasn't out there promising miracles or throwing cash around like some politicians. Instead, he talked about real issues, jobs, education, and tackling corruption. His supporters, the Obidient, turned social media into a megaphone with hashtags, memes, and viral videos that made Obi a household name. In 2023, polls showed Obi had a 65% favorability rating among voters, way ahead of his rivals. Why? Because he came off as relatable. The man rocks the same black shoes from Marks & Spencer, carries his own luggage, and talks like your smart uncle who actually listens. For 2027, he has to double down on this. The youth vote is his ace, but he needs to keep them fired up. That means more town halls, more X spaces, maybe even jumping on TikTok trends. Imagine Obi doing a dance challenge with Gen Z. Okay, maybe not, but you get the vibe. He has to stay visible and keep that energy alive. The catch? Voter turnout was only 27% in 2023, one of the lowest ever. A lot of young people didn't vote because of delays, violence, or just distrust in the system. Obi's team needs to make sure his supporters actually show up next time, and that's where our next point comes in: fixing the electoral mess. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Nigeria's elections can be a hot mess. In 2023, there were reports of ballot box snatching, voter intimidation, and tech glitches with the new electronic voting system. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) got slammed for poor planning and lack of transparency. Obi himself called the election controversial and took it to court, claiming he was robbed of victory. He didn't win that legal battle, but he fired up his base and exposed cracks in the system. For 2027, Obi has to push for electoral reform. Some folks on X are already talking about mobilizing millions for peaceful rallies to demand INEC reforms by October 2025. Imagine 1 million Nigerians in every state hitting the streets, not for chaos, but for a fairer system, better voter registration, glitch-free tech, and protection from thugs. If Obi can champion this, it will show he's serious about making every vote count. Plus, it will keep his movement visible and united, even before the campaign kicks off. This isn't just about optics. A cleaner election process could boost turnout, especially among young voters who felt disenfranchised last time. If Obi's 6 million voters from 2023 actually show up and bring friends, he's got a real shot. Thirdly, building a broader coalition. Here is where things get a little bit tricky. Obi outperformed in urban areas like Lagos and Abuja, and he dominated the southeast, the south-south, and part of the southwestern part of Nigeria. But Nigeria's elections are won in rural areas, and across regions. In 2023, some analysts said Obi's support was too concentrated among the higher economic class in quotes and didn't stretch enough into rural Nigeria or the north. To win, he has to broaden his appeal. How will he do this? First, Obi needs to keep hammering issues that resonate everywhere: jobs, security, and food prices. Nigeria is dealing with crazy inflation and kidnappings, and people are tired. Peter Obi already has a reputation for being corruption-free, which is rare in Nigerian politics. If he can pitch practical solutions like boosting agriculture or tech hubs in rural areas, he could pull in voters who didn't vibe with him last time. Secondly, he's got to build alliances and coalitions. In 2023, Peter Obi ran solo, no major coalitions. For 2027, he could link up with smaller parties or even disgruntled APC and PDP folks who see the wind shifting. His running mate Yusuf Dati Baba Ahmed brought some northern credibility last time, but Obi might need more heavyweights from the north and southwest to balance the tickets. It's about showing he's not just a southeastern or urban candidate, he's for all Nigerians. Finally, the Obidient movement has to keep the fire burning. The Obidient movement is like nothing Nigeria has seen before. It's not just a fan club, it's a grassroots army. In 2023, they didn't just vote, they campaigned, donated, and called out nonsense. One supporter told NPR, in quotes, "Even if he doesn't win, they will know something hits them," end quote. That's the spirit Obi needs to harness. For the next election, the movement has to stay organized, no slacking. They're already talking about defending votes in 2027, with 6 million and more soldiers ready to monitor polls. Obi's team should train volunteers, set up local chapters, and maybe even launch a voter education campaign. The goal? Make sure every Obidient knows their polling unit and isn't scared off by delays or talks. But here's the real talk. Obi can't let the movement fizzle out. Some supporters got heartbroken after 2023 and felt the system was rigged. He's got to keep them hopeful, maybe through regular updates on Twitter or X, or community projects that show he's constantly fighting for change. A united Obidient army could be the difference between third place and Aso Rock. Finally, Obi's got to sell a vision that sticks. His 2023 campaign was all about hope and change. It worked because Nigerians were tired of the same old political leaders. For 2027, he needs a sharper story. He has to paint a picture of a Nigeria where young people have jobs, farmers aren't scared of bandits, and the government isn't looting cash. Obi is already a master at this. His town halls were different, clear, no jargon, just facts. He broke down complex issues like the economy in ways that made sense to everyone. If he keeps that up, adds some slick campaign ads, and maybe gets a celebrity or two to endorse him, he could dominate the narrative. Alright, let's wrap this up. Peter Obi's got a real shot at winning in 2027, but it's not yet a done deal. He has to keep the youths hyped, push for a fairer election, build a bigger coalition, strengthen the Obidient movement, and tell a story that pulls everyone in. The 2023 election showed Nigeria is ready for change. Obi's job is to prove he's the guy to deliver it. So what do you think? Can Obi pull this off? Or is the system too tough to crack? Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you later.